Well, welcome back to Exotic Wine Travel. I'm your host, Matthew Horkey. We are here in Belgrade, Serbia. We're continuing to do research, keep our thumb, on the wines of Serbia as they continue to evolve and get better vintage after vintage. But today is not a video about Serbian wines. Today we're talking about Turkish wines. It's been a little over 2 years since we first did our first initial trip through Turkey, Armenia, and Georgia, and we chronicled it in our book, Uncorking the Caucasus, Wines from Turkey, Armenia, and Georgia. This book was meant to be more of a travelogue experience, and it chronicled some of the wines that we got to sample throughout our journey. And Turkey was a bit of a challenge. Turkey, it was very difficult, and probably even now with everything that's happening in the country.
You can go to Turkey.
Yeah, but at the time, wineries, all alcohol could not be advertised on television. Even when you were in the country, websites were blocked, so it was extremely hard to find out more and more about Turkish wines. And when we wrote this initial book, we were brand new and green in the wine industry, so that made it even more challenging. And, Turkey, first of all, for those of you who don't know, actually has a long history of winemaking. Maybe not in the recent history. People don't associate Turkey and winemaking, but it's quite possible that the first wine was actually, the first domesticated grapes could have been in eastern Turkey. It was also known as Western Armenia, even though before that it was just Anatolia. They have found evidence that grapes were domesticated there like about 6 to 8,000 years BC. So interesting place, have a lot of indigenous varieties. When we first visited there, we ignored the small European part of Turkey, Thrace. It's connected to Bulgaria and Greece. That's where a lot of the progressive winemaking is starting to happen. And I kind of regret that now. We have to go back and take a look. And here in Belgrade, we luckily had a tasting of this wonderful, highly regarded producer. This is Chamlija. This is his Papaskarasi. Let me see the vintage on this. 2015. Awesome label. His daughter actually paints all of these labels. We tasted 5 wines from Chamlija. Ones that really stood out to us were the Quartz Blanc, which is Sauvignon Blanc, Quartz Fumé, which is Sauvignon Blanc, and they had a Thracian, which was a blend of Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc. Did it have Malbec in it? I can't remember.
No.
It was Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot, which was really nice. And this Papaskarasi really impressed me. He's only made a few vintages of this with young vines. Papaskarasi is an indigenous grape to that part of Turkey. It's got a parent-offspring relationship with Prokupats, which is from here in Serbia, and Kadarka, which is from this area. Actually, Kadarka could possibly be Serbian as well. Really interesting light red wine. I was really excited to taste this when we first tasted it. At first, it didn't impress me that much, but it really needed some air, and it changed. A lot of light red fruits, a little bit of white pepper. It was just kind of, it was a little bit raw, kind of natural winey, but still clean. Did I cover all the bases with the Papaskarasi? You remember anything about this interesting?
I think what's most exciting is it's obviously a very aromatic grape.
Yeah. And this was not made in any wood. This was all in stainless steel. I'm excited to see how this wine changes as they go through vintage to vintage. The wines of Chamlija were pretty darn impressive. I have a full tasting article coming up on the wines of Chamlija. I want to thank Amarone, importing company here in Belgrade, for putting together the tasting with us. And Mustafa, the winemaker owner of Chamlija, keep up the good work, because I think your wines show a lot of progress. So guys, if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Exotic Wine Travel. I will see you at the next episode.